We are at war. War. What is it good for? Everything. I don't know if you heard about war, but it gets stuff done. Alright? You didn't hear no one chanting, war, what is it good for, when the Nazis were gassing all the Jews. Hell no. Hell no. It was a good thing to go to war. This might be the most noble war since the Second World War. Mainstream media war. Is that what we're going to call it? What are we going to call it? The Adpocalypse War? What's the name for this war? Give it a good name. I want a good name for the war. But the war is on. This has been bubbling on for a long time. Ever since, the Wall Street Journal went on its tirade, first talking about, showing what adverts were getting, adverts by advertisers, obviously, were being put in front of the most hateful content. They exposed that. Then they went after PewDiePie and took everything out of context, and basically, ever since, labeled him a white supremacist neo-Nazi. It's the ultimate symbol of neo-Nazi hatred is a young Swedish man who plays computer games that's popular with children. That is the face of a neo-Nazi. And ever since then, it's just been one thing after another. Now this Vox journalist, what's his name? Something Mazza. Does it mention it here? I can't remember his name. What's his name? The Vox Adpocalypse. Does it mention his name? I care not. I care not what his name is, to be honest with you. What's his name? Well, that's him there, isn't it? Carlos Mazza, of course. Carlos Mazza. Thank you, everybody, for your time and patience. See Carlos Mazza going after Steven Crowder, because Steven Crowder was saying some funny things. Whatever. Depending on your terms of service, who cares about the terms of service, actually? Who cares about anything? It's always been about, look, these mainstream media organizations have lost trust, and rightly so, because they've always been trash for the longest time. They're trash, garbage, rubbish, dump. That's what they are. And we've relied on them for our information for far too long. Selective information. And just look at any of the news right now. It's all selective. The mainstream media, what it loves to do. A great example is Madeleine McGann. Okay, one child goes missing out of the hundreds of thousands, millions of children. Who knows? The numbers are quite staggering if you look at them, about how many kids go missing each year. But this one child was supposed to, because it sort of captivates the nation, and everyone's like, oh my God, we need to find Madeleine. Where's Madeleine? What's up with Madeleine? Madeleine, are you there? Like, on and on, article after article, just going on and on and on. And then you get selective murders. One murder out of all the murders that we have. And there's one murder that just has the right elements, like Madeleine McGann. It just has the right elements. And this is all we're fed all the time. And what's going on around the world? What actual things are necessary for us to know? Loads. We've been dumbed down for a very long time. Just dumbed down. Watered down. It's been going on for a very long time. The fact is, when it's all selected, what I've said before is right. Okay, I'll get to this. I went on a tirade about the Madeleine McGann thing, as in how did it benefit us? As in, how did it benefit you? How did it benefit her? Did the constant onslaught of articles about Madeleine McGann help find her? No. All these years later, no one's none the wiser. Did it help you be a better parent? What did it do for you? What did it do for everybody? What did it do for your average person constantly reading about Madeleine McGann? Not a lot. Made you sad. Just made you sad. Just made you feel something. Well, there's plenty of things that can make you feel something. Was it necessary for you to know? I don't know. Were you in Portugal at the time? Were you at that resort? Do you have information? No, most of you don't. Vast majority of people don't. And if they did, well, who's used that information? Point is that when they just have always clinged onto narratives that sell newspapers, and this is how the mainstream media acts in terms of online presence as well. Because don't forget, companies like Vox and Vice are all owned by massive corporations who have that same sort of mindset. And the online journalism world at one point was worth a lot of money, and a lot of these companies were sold for extortionate amounts of money, as we know now. And they're just bottomless pits. They're money pits. You just chuck money in and nothing comes back. Like, they're not profitable. Like, read a book called Would I Lie to You? And it's about a geezer who manipulated. He was a media manipulator to get what he wanted, and he just sort of breaks it down very, very well that, you know, they don't get paid enough for starters, journalists, and they have to churn out so much content to generate a certain amount of clicks every day to appease advertisers that it's a loser's playground. It's a loser's playground. You got journalists getting paid a salary for, and they don't get enough, and they have to just churn out endless crap. I mean, just look through. I mean, Vice is a good example. If you just look through Vice, and just look at all the articles that you get in Vice, and it's like, I spent a week on acid playing Pokemon or something like that. It's like, who gives a fuck what you did? Do you know what I mean? That's the kind of toss that they pour out. And Donald Trump kind of exposed that all because he just became the go-to thing, the only thing that they could talk about, because it generated so many clicks, and they just had to be outraged about something continuously, you know, because outrage culture is what sells. And now they attack, and then the mainstream media's attack on YouTube is that it generates hatred. You know, that's what they're saying. It generates hatred and outrage. Yet all they do is pump out hatred and outrage. So it's their main argument for what they're to support the egregious stuff that they're doing is bullshit. Because all they do is pump out outrage and hatred. They are haters. They hate it. You got people doing stuff like a setup like this, less of a budget, better researchers working for themselves, more nuanced. They don't have to answer to someone. They don't have to answer to a massive corporation that has invested interest in other things. You know, these big corporations, like even Disney, will be owned by something else. You know, YouTube and Google are owned by another bigger company, even themselves. Wall Street Journal is owned by a company that owns brands who probably advertise on YouTube. This is what it's all about. These are companies going down the toilet. You look at television media, it's completely lost faith. Everyone's lost faith in it. And good. No one believes what they say. They don't. The old model doesn't work for our brains. This short form, quick 2-minute news count going, there was a bomb today, this man died, oh look at his leg, oh my god, now on to a cute puppy. That kind of shit doesn't want, like, people don't want that no more. People want long form. They want to be really well informed, and there's plenty of people out there who are doing that at grassroots level, you know, base the true spirit of independence. And these journalists can't compete with it, and that's why they're hacks, because they have to be hacks in order to survive. And it just creates this cycle machine where you know, one journalist will print. There's no print. Well, they'll produce an article that's some bullshit that they've taken stuff out of context. It's a hit piece. You know the drill. He's a neo-Nazi or something. That's the usual thing, and blah, blah, blah. And then other people will latch onto it and just regurgitate the nonsense that's already been spat out. And then you just have, if you have so many people saying the same thing, even if it is nonsense, then it must be true. It must be true. Not like it's some, you know, agenda. And that's how we're living right now. Now, with this warfare thing, now you got Keemstar coming out, and fair play to Keemstar, who just loves YouTube so much. So he's got together a bunch of top YouTubers, and they want to target advertisers of corrupt media journalists. So they're going to play the same game. This is what it had to lead to, really. fighting fire with fire, because the other system doesn't work. Everyone's appeased to the algorithm. You know, everyone's toned themselves down. Everyone's not swearing so much. They're not featuring certain content. Everyone's praying about, you know, using certain terms, showing certain things. There's so many ways that it will affect not just the advertising revenue you get, but like how your videos get recommended, which is something that these journalists don't seem to understand. They think that the more outrageous and horrific you are, the more you benefit from it on YouTube. Like, no, it doesn't. If you set up a channel called We Are the KKK and we hate everyone else that ain't white, like, in their eyes, they think that will generate shitloads of money and you'll be totally successful, and YouTube will just keep recommending your videos. It's just not the case. And if you legitimately don't know it's not the case, then what is wrong with you? Then, well, I know what's wrong with you. You just don't know how to do research anymore, do you? You forgot what being a journalist is. Being a journalist isn't just attacking people and hating on people because they're doing better than you, because you're relying on an old system that's dying. Look at the music industry. What happened in the music industry? They had to adapt. They saw Napster coming and ignored it. They thought it was a fad. They thought it would go away. And it totally changed the music industry forever. Oh, look at this. It's moving around. Ooh, spooky. So I'm going to move it down. That advert's pissing me off as much as it's probably pissing you off. And, you know, the music industry had to adapt. They had to come to streaming. They had to do 360 deals where the record label gets a cut of all the money that the artist makes. Touring used to be something that promoted the record and was considered something that didn't generate money. It wasn't a cash cow. Now touring is like the life force of the music industry now. Touring is huge. You know, it's more expensive and there's more emphasis. You got artists now that are like really well known for really proud of their live shows, putting on live shows, especially in rap, because rap concerts used to be so good. I remember Wu-Tang Clan back in the day just rapping along to vocal tracks, not even instrumentals, and just stage diving and stuff. And it wasn't great. I hate to say it. A long time ago though. They probably upped their game. But that's what I'm saying. And now it's like people are proud of their live shows. Yes, you hear young artists like people like Little Yachty or Little Uzi Vert always saying, yeah, you come to my shows, you'll see how great it is, because they're proud of their shows, because their shows have to be good. The music industry had to adapt, and they realized that they didn't have the money that they once had. Like, look at music videos now. You'll never get music videos like what Michael Jackson made, or any of that stuff. You know, you're talking $200,000 budgets upwards. That was sort of standard up into the higher echelons of Michael Jacksonville, where it was like, you know, what, $7 million for a video? That shit ain't gonna fly again. You know, you're not gonna have. When the History album came out for Michael Jackson, he had a huge bronze statue sailing down the River Thames, and it must have been doing that all over the world. You ain't gonna get that kind of promotion no more in the music industry. You don't get your Led Zeppelin private jets no more. Do you know what I mean? They don't rent out the whole floor of a hotel and pack it full of hoes. Well, actually, they probably still do that. That's probably still going on. Some habits die hard. What I'm saying is that you won't get that anymore, but the music industry still exists. It's still there. It's just changed because it had to change. And the mainstream media and news are going to have to change. But they're refusing to change. They're going down the whole thing of, you know, they're like Lars Ulrich attacking Napster, going, no, fuck you, Napster. No. It's like, no, that didn't work. Napster's still here. Napster changed. Even Napster that started this mess changed. You have to adapt, you know. And YouTubers have been trying to adapt to the changes, and now they've had enough of it, and they haven't, because because they are willing to adapt and change, because you see it all the time, you know. All of a sudden, like, longer videos generate more revenue and do better in search algorithms, so everyone makes longer videos. People tone down their swearing, as I've mentioned. People are, you know, walking the line, making sure everything's cool. And then you have this bunch of people who have this outdated model, and they refuse to change, and they just attack. Well, nah. And it's good that you're saying, no, we ain't walking on this tightrope no more. We're going after you now. So fuck you. Come at us. Like, YouTubers don't have bosses. They can manage their own time. They have their own deadlines. They have their own teams that they're in charge of. Well, majority. Obviously, you have some YouTubers that are like commodities, like Jake Paul has investors. You know what I'm saying? But the majority of YouTubers, that is who they are. So they're going to go after you. And I think everyone should help them along and support this. Because it's about time. It's just a nonsense affecting people's income because you refuse to adapt and change. You literally refuse. It's not fair. It's not fair. That whole mentality of it's not fair. It's like life isn't fair. When did you think life was fair? From the moment you were born, you should know life isn't fair. Some babies are born still. It's not fair. It's not fair. Disease isn't fair. That kills your loved ones. It's not fair. Nothing's fair. You know, if you get lost in the jungle and eaten by a snake, it's not fair. But that's how it always has been. The jungle snake will kill you. Let's have a quick read through this for recap. So, for the last few years, media journalists have been targeting YouTubers and attempting to demonetize and deplatform them at every turn. They originally went after PewDiePie incessantly, that's true, causing multiple adpocalypses to take place. They managed in some ways to subdue PewDiePie, got Steven Crowder completely demonetized and a bunch of other channels terminated via the Vox Adpocalypse, and recently causing the Quartering to lose multiple advertisers. Well, some YouTubers are done with all this nonsense, and some of the top YouTubers led by Drama Alert's Keemstar are about ready to fight back. On June 7th, 2019, Keemstar rolled out a tweet that garnered 12,000 likes, letting the Twitter denizens know that he was going to pull out a Moses and lead the YouTubers to the promised land of demonetizing the corrupt journalists who operate from the pulpit of propaganda and mainstream media. Amen, brother. There's his tweet. Keemstar's tweet came after a series of other tweets he posted on June 7th, 2019, when he explained what led to the decision to finally push back against the media malfeasance that has been employed to ruin the lives of many content creators, new media, and even the gaming industry. Imagine a world where us YouTubers got together and made a campaign targeting advertisers, show them how wasteful it is to sponsor this mainstream media sites. You're only a few articles away from this happening, journalists. We can make a way bigger splash than you ever could. I get your media power and influence is dying. I'm sorry, but it's not YouTubers' fault. If we fight back, a lot of you will be out of a job. We have millions that watch us and way more influence. So please stop attacking YouTubers. Please stop attacking YouTubers, or we will use your tactics against you. If you want to write an article exposing YouTubers for messing up, fine. If you want to target advertisers that run ads on YouTube to scare them, then we must fight back. We must show them how it's better to advertise with influencers because we actually sell products. You don't. He's right. It says he's right. The old guard is dying. Vox laid off 5% of his entire staff last year, as reported by Variety. CNN had 100 employees accept buyouts in early May, as reported by the Washington Examiner. And 1,000 journalists across BuzzFeed, AOL, Huffington Post, Yahoo, and the rest of Verizon's media group were all laid off back in January 2018. Legacy media is dying. Moreover, many of these corrupt journalists are trying to utilize a scorched earth approach for a Pyrrhic, I've never seen that word before, victory, which is what Vox's Carlos Mazar attempted with the Vox Adpocalypse. Keemstar covered the drama back on June 6, 2019. The Drama Alert content creator seems intent on staving off this advertising Armageddon against YouTubers by targeting mainstream media advertisers instead. It's a smart maneuver that many YouTubers should have employed during the first apocalypse, but many of them kept justifying and making excuses for the corrupt media. That has resulted in many YouTube channels being demonetized or terminated. Well, after a lot of poking the bear, it looks like some of the top tier YouTubers are now going after the media, finally. Let's hope they get organized and make use of the hashtag Gamergate style tactics, like Operation Disrespectful Nod, to cut off their ideological opponents at the knees. It would be a commerce fatality that has long been in the making and well overdue. Amen to that. Well, you can expect to see some hit pieces on Keemstar. But luckily for him, obviously they had that whole business with Leafy and Grade A Under A when they went after him and, put things out of context and try to completely destroy his reputation. But he fought back from that. Like, and now what? He's above 5 million subs. He fought back hard from that. He's a survivor, man. You've got to give it to him. He's an entertaining survivor. A polarizing, but entertaining survivor. And the fact that he's leading the charge is appropriate, I think. It's very appropriate. And if there's one thing that can bring everyone together, it is this. And I think that is a very positive and wonderful thing. And this is what has to happen. That's it. End of. The war is on. The war is on. Yeah? Let's demonetize these bitches. Punch him in the face. Go, that's for Monkey Jones. Punch him in the face. That's for Alex Jones. It's all the Joneses. That's right. That's right. May we slay our enemies and devour their children and make their wives our slaves. Mm-hmm. Amen.